What's up,
ready.
Gloria? How are you?
How are you?
I am so blessed. You are on time following those Hollywood one-on-one.
Yeah, listen. No, I'm the on-time Cuban, okay?
You are on time. I am not mad, though. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Dulce, brought to you by the New York Latino Film Festival. The building is getting full now. People are joining.
Lovely. Oh, I should tweet out. I should tweet people that I'm on.
Tweet to your heart's desires.
I'll tweet to the people.
Yes, tweet to the people. Happy Monday. Thank you. It is early in LA. It is 8:15.
It's not 8:15. I have children. Yeah. This is esto nada.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
See, I live that single life, so I'm like.
You live that single life. Okay.
You know, that's what it is. Say that as much as you want, because I know you got cute friends, Gloria.
I do have cute friends. What are you looking for? Okay, we can sidebar.
We'll do a sidebar. We'll do a sidebar because now this is our time. This is
dating in the city. It's rough out there.
It is so rough out, and I think
But are you looking for very young women? Are you looking for not women your age?
I mean, Gloria, I'm so gay. I'm so gay. I'm not like none of that.
No 25-year-old. Okay.
No. I need stability. I need stability, motherfucking.
Because I will do this. Listen, I am all about it.
I am open and receptive to receive my right and perfect partner. So let's do this. Thank you so much for doing this. You know, one of the things I admire so many things about you, but you are always so open to uplift and support those around you, whether it be through Twitter, which is how we made this.
We got to do it. Yeah, right? Yeah. It is. We talk on Twitter a lot. Yeah.
We talk on Twitter, but also through your series, Hollywood 101. Like, you are just constantly doing it. You are busy. You are busy.
I'm busy. It's really true.
You know, where do you find that motivation to do it?
Because there was nobody.
Ooh.
Right. There was nobody.
Yes. Yeah, there's no. Mm-hmm. There was nobody. And it's so
I just feel like actually a lot of my career is actually really narcissistic, because I make stuff for 14-year-old me, and I do Twitter Q&As and stuff because for 20-year-old me, you know, for 25-year-old me who was like hustling and I didn't know anybody in Hollywood, nobody. I didn't have nothing. And it was years that it was just kind of figuring it out. And I realized, had somebody just told me XYZ, it could have saved me, honestly, 2 years sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Yeah.
Like, this is a new thing for us. Hold on. Okay, throw in some love out there. Join us. Okay, hold on. I'm tweeting. Then we're on. Okay.
You are just multitasking. I love it. No, but see, may I invite something? I don't think of it as narcissism. I think it's really like, it's just powerful, and being able to acknowledge that so many people need your voice, you know, like, if we can't see it, if we don't see it modeled, we don't know how to become it. And thank you for paving that way, because it makes it easier for all of us to to follow and forge our own path.
Well, that's nice to hear. That's the intent. That's the intent behind it.
Well, I mean, I acknowledge it, and I'm very grateful. So Hollywood 101, for those of you in the chat who have not seen it, y'all better get right to it, because
y'all better get right to it.
Right to it right now, right after this.
This is the best time. Quarantine is the best time, because it's like 11 episodes. It's a lot of me talking, y'all, and I'm sorry in advance.
No, don't be sorry. We need it. We need it for the reasons that you said. You know, and each episode is only either 10 minutes.
It's a lot of tough love too. It's a lot of tough love.
But
it's there. You know, I'm trying to be real.
And we need that. You know, we need the papao sometimes. We need the chancleta sometimes, because I will tell you straight up, I've been on the other side of this business as an actor for a long time, and I learned so much, you know, as a writer from watching Hollywood 101.
Good.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the stuff can be kind of applied to, you know, whatever.
A lot of artists just,
but there's just certain things that you're like, oh shit, I never made that connection. So.
Oh no, my garbage truck happens to be going by right now. I can hear you.
They were doing construction right outside.
Sound to the city. Sound to the city.
I'm like, please don't start doing construction. So you mentioned the word hustle or hustler like 500,000 times. But there's different types of hustle. Like, you know, I'm from New York. I got that New York.
You got that New York hustle.
You know, I got that New York hustle. What is Gloria's top 3 characteristics for a hustler, an effective hustler.
Don't complain, do. Don't complain, do. Don't complain, do. Like, I know so many people who are like, I can't get an agent. I can't. I'm like, what did you do today, yesterday, and the day before?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nada? You waiting for someone to go king, king? Oh, hello? No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So every day, look, one of the biggest barriers is representation. Mm-hmm. And I think what has to happen is you've got to put everything else on hold to try to focus on, like, I got to get this representation. Oh, I need XYZ. Okay, I'm going to focus on those pieces of material and make sure those pieces of material are the greatest, most amazing. Because I can't tell you, too, that sometimes I'll get people who have the hustle, right, who write the material but think, oh, I wrote it and I'm done. And I can move on to the next, instead of rewriting. Because I'll tell you what, that first 5 pages is everything.
And it's now,
And if it's not great, they won't keep reading. I mean, we just did this the Latinx list, which your script, I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Papi.
Thank you.
But what a killer 5 pages, right? I mean, I read the whole thing, but
that being said,
5 pages, you're in the world, right? You're there, you're with him. He's walking down the street. You're seeing all of it. The cigarette, you're seeing all of it. It's so clear, and not everybody takes the time to do that. And so I really want to put forth that y'all have to not just do the work, but rewrite. Rewriting is key, Gorilla Bitch. Yes.
Rewrite, Gorilla Bitch.
Rewrite.
Don't complain, work.
Don't complain, work. What else?
I think those are two. Those are 2. Rewriting and don't complain.
Okay. Are those good? Okay.
Yeah, and then those are good. We could.
Okay.
So, is there gonna be a season 2? Or no?
No.
You're like, no. I'm done.
No. Maybe in a few years. Maybe in a few years. Maybe once I know more. I think those are my. I mean, it was. I used to do coffees, right? I used to sit down and do coffees with writers. So much more. And there's no. I mean, you guys, it is no joke running show. It's no joke. Yeah. It's so much work, and there's so much additional work that, like, for example, today I'm doing press all day. I have all day press. I go until 9:30. And I'm back to back. I'm back to back. Now, technically, I should be writing today, but I can't write today because I have to do back-to-back press because our animated episode's tomorrow. So that's also stuff that you don't anticipate. You're like, oh, right. Okay. So, like, for somebody like me, when am I going to fit the time in? When am I going to write? When am I going to carve out a moment here, carve out a moment there? Also, I got kids and a husband. I like them. Right? I got my mom and dad across the street. I like them.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm that Latina. I'm that Latina, y'all.
Mine is
Latina AF. They right over there. I can wave from my window, and my Bobby's probably out there.
Hey.
Con un camiseta y café. Probably not right now, but if he was, I'd show you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nonstop. It's nonstop hustle.
Well, you mentioned One Day at a Time animated episode dropping tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm so grateful. First of all, for season 4. Season 4, because you went through what you went through with Netflix. What did it feel like to have that support of everyone just rallying behind you and then get that season 4?
It was incredible. Shows are canceled every day that are excellent shows. So many of my friends have been on great shows that have gotten canceled, and to have it canceled and have such an outpouring of love, and to have, I had so many of my friends tweeting and retweeting. Hi, Alex Menendez, I love you. Alex, such a supporter.
Yes.
And it was really moving to see that the thing that I intended, which was trying to make my community feel proud and feel seen, it was reflected back.
Yeah.
It was such it was like a hug back. Because I try with the show, I always think about how the show makes people feel, right? Like I want to write the stuff, but then I always think about the person on the other side of the box receiving it, and how do I want them to feel? And so much of my life growing up, I felt like if I can invite people into my living room and they could sit with my abuela and abuelo and my mom and my dad, and we could eat and we could break bread, that so many of the issues that I saw happening to our community would be fixed. I really, like I did as a kid, I thought, just have them over. What are we doing? Like, we'll have food. And the show does that. The show is my ability to invite people into the living room and to have these conversations. So I just filled with gratitude at the support that we got for the show. And then, every step of the way, it's again, the hustle is real, right? Yeah. Like, we get canceled, we got to try to find a new home.
Yeah, but it's different we were all going hard for it, and it was just every way.
So nice.
Like, there's a difference between like you having to pick up the cross by yourself and knowing that you have millions of people rallying behind you. Like, I got moved. I was like, oh my God, we're doing this. And then
it was really so special. I know, so special.
So now we're at a point. You're in.
So now the COVID.
You're shooting COVID. Now the COVID and the COVID coming, messing everything up. But you, being the supernova that you are, is like, okay, we're gonna figure it out. Animated.
What are we doing? I mean, look, this is the thing. I feel like it's so great to also sit with whatever. All of us have some level of privilege, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of times people in our community see the lack, because there's a big lack, and not to say don't bitch about the things that are real and the things that are lacking. Of course, do be loud about that. But I feel like sometimes we need to sit with what we have. Yeah. That is our superpower.
It is the superpower. It's the Wizard of Oz. You always have the power.
It's the Wizard of Oz. Yes. Yeah. So it's like hustle is my superpower, right? Like, because I come from this warrior. I mean, listen, I come from all of this wonderful Caribbean background. I come from parents that are such hard workers, grandparents who are such hard workers, that instilled so much. And I feel my abuela's hand on my shoulder. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that I try to tap into that when I'm writing and when I'm trying to figure out how to make people feel through like all of that is so interwoven. When I tweet, it really is all like a giving back, a giving to, the family members out there, right? Yeah. That are my people. And so, I don't know.
No, it's intentional living, and like life is reciprocity. The energy you get out is the energy you get back, and that's why you are showered. That's why we shower you, and that's why you have season 4, and that's why all these amazing things are happening. Amazing things tomorrow, animated episode. Gloria Estefan is returning. Melissa Pinero, who I believe is in the building, and Lin-Manuel Miranda is coming through, making his One Day at a Time debut.
Can't believe it. Insane.
Also, what can we expect? What can you tell us?
Well, so what was so fun about, Lin has been so supportive. I didn't know Lin-Manuel. I remember the day we premiered 4 years ago, when the first season premiered, the day we premiered, he started following me on Twitter, and my heart like exploded. I was like, what? I made it! And then he would tweet at me every once in a while about an episode or about something here. They're so lovely. And then when the Save ODAC campaign was out, he was so vocal. I mean, I did not know him, right? Like, he obviously knows Rita and he knows Justina. Yeah. They've worked together in the past, but I didn't know him at all. And he was giving so much love, so much love. So then one day, as I'm shooting the Hollywood 101, the night I was shooting the Hollywood 101, we're about to wrap. And I get a DM on Twitter, hey, I'm in town, do you want to have dinner? And I was like, yes, I'll have dinner with you. So I had dinner with him and Melissa Fumero, who I already know, and it was like dinner with an old friend. Mm-hmm. He's so normal. Mm-hmm. And I remember at the end of the dinner, I was like, how are you so normal? Like, how? And he just started laughing. He's just a genuine person. And so we exchanged numbers, and every now and then we'll text each other, things that the kids are doing or something. And
now he's
when we were going to do this show, when we were going to do a live action, I reached out to him and I was like, is there any chance? Like, is there any way? And he was like, I'm shooting Tick, Tick, Boom. Like, he was supposed to do his directorial debut, right?
Yeah, my best friend's in it, Robin De Jesus. Which
Oh my God.
yeah.
So, okay. So they were supposed to be shooting.
They were shooting for a hot second, and then, yeah.
And then they had to pull the plug, right? So when this was all happening, because it's like the comic relief of the episode, you know? So when this all happened, I was like, I'm just going to shoot my shot. And I just texted like, we're doing it animated. We can send a microphone to wherever you are in the world. You want to do it? He was like, in.
Yeah. But that's like him, like you, he lives intentionally. And everything he does, you know what I'm saying? And it's that, again, it's those ripples. You know, what you put out into the world, you're going to get back. So it's called the politics episode tomorrow. You know, y'all gonna be
real political.
And we're at a time where we need that, you know. So my question to you is, you know, what's your advice to people within the Latinx community who may have trouble, you know, talking to their families about politics regarding race or, you know, any other kind of hot button issue sometimes, or we don't know how to address our elders sometimes, but we need to because it's important. So what's your
Well, hopefully there's stuff in the episode that will help people. I mean, it's very much, it came from, it's really a how-to, right? It's how does Penelope deal with her. So I am Cuban, but I am a West Coast Cuban. I've been a West Coast Cuban my whole life. My parents came to Miami. They were there for about a year. And then when the freedom flights started happening, because it was 14,000 Cuban kids during Operation Pedro Pan in 1960 to 1962, 14,000 Cuban kids came. They were in camps, right? Where they were given blankets and toothpaste, coño. And then once it was clear that Castro wasn't leaving, then the parents started to come over slowly. So there was no infrastructure in Miami at the time. It was farmland. Miami is what it is because Cubans came, right?
Put in the work.
So there, different churches all over the country took in Cubans. That's why the Cuban diaspora is so spread out. That's why you got Cubans in North Carolina and Cubans in Washington and Cubans. So the vast majority are Miami and New Jersey, right? But we're everywhere. We're everywhere. We sort of blended in. And so I grew up in a small Cuban community in Portland, Oregon. That was like 40 Cuban families. So it's like I had a very Cuban experience. The parties and the laughter and the Spanish everywhere and everyone's a tia and a tío and who's really your tia, tío, you don't know. And like that was my journey, right? Like coming here like that. But I was born in Portland, Oregon, and all of my West Coast cousins are very liberal. So I have cousins in Washington, I have cousins in Oregon, cousins in California. The Miami cousins.
The Florida girl.
Now listen, a lot of the younger people are, it's mixing it up. It's mixing it up now. Not all of my cousins over there are conservative, but I have one cousin in particular who not only is conservative, but actually loves this dude. And
it's always one.
It's rough.
There's always one. Yeah.
It's rough. It's really, really, really hard for me to constantly talk to him about what news sources he's watching. Is he getting the full picture? Why does he think that guy is so great? And it's been hard because I love him. I grew up with him and I love him and I love his kids. And his wife is such a badass, hardworking, badass Puerto Rican. He's married to an awesome Puerto Rican. But and for years it was a joke. For years it was, you're a crazy liberal, Glorita, because they all call me Glorita. Glorita, you're a crazy liberal. And I'm like, you're a crazy conservative, ha, 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 ha. But now it's different. Now it feels different. So we've been having some conversations and they've been hard.
So tomorrow is the how-to episode because you're not alone, Gloria. You're not alone. So many of us need to have these conversations and we don't always know how because life is complicated and relationships are complicated. So thank you for being able to go there. You know,
I'm trying. Look, I'm seeing some of the comments like, I don't waste my breath anymore. I know some people some people it's what it is, right? It's the ones who are like, the ones that like maybe you can get to that are maybe worth discussing things with.
But you know, one of the things that I love about the show and much like the original version is you've never been shy to represent and talk about the real issues. 4 seasons in, do you have a favorite storyline or a favorite episode?
Well, obviously we're very proud of the coming out, because we did a long coming out, and wasn't just like one episode devoted to Elena's coming out. It was really a whole coming out, and that's in thanks to our queer writers. We have many queer writers on our set, and we are so blessed that they have been so forthright with their experience and sharing with us. So but I really love the depression storyline with Penelope too. I think that's something in communities of color that's also underrepresented, is that we think that Jesus is going to cure everything. And
well, sometimes
maybe he cures a lot. He cures a lot. Jesus invents the whole room. But
therapy and medication will go along with Jesus. Jesus, therapy, and medication. It's holistic. So this question box is blowing up.
Let's do it. Let's do questions. Let's do it.
Questions, preguntas. Is pitching for different networks? What is like pitching for different networks? What is it like? Well, like, I guess from a Netflix opposed to like a cable?
Yeah. Okay. So whenever I do a pitch, one of the things that my team will do, and you should ask your representation to do this with you, is to determine the viability of where they think it will go. Right? So whenever I make something, I go, where does this live ideally? What is it partnered with? What's before it? What's after it? It's called hammocking, right? What's before and after it, right? And then you can adjust if you feel comfortable, depending on where you go.
Okay.
So so you can adjust a little bit based on where you're going. So CBS makes a certain type of sitcom, multicam, or 1 hour. They make certain types of procedurals and certain type of half hours. So I would adjust slightly when going to CBS, because you have to know who your buyer is. ABC a little bit more open. NBC doesn't know where they are exactly. Fox is doing more animation, maybe FX if it's edgy. Like, you have to think about what is the brand of what you're making. So yeah, I would say, look, sometimes I'd say, this is what I want to make. This is what I want to make, and I'm going to pitch it. And if somebody buys it, great. Sometimes I do that, and I just pitch the same thing to all the places. Sometimes I'll adjust it a tiny bit for each place, knowing that my buyer may be more likely to buy it if I adjust it a certain way.
A certain type of way.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Next question. What are your tips into getting in the writer's room?
The first thing you have to do is get an agent or a manager. Right now, writers don't even have agents. So there are no agents right now because of a long dispute over packaging, which is boring. But you have to get representation. You can't get into a writer's room right now without representation.
And just as a quick shout out, this is a whole episode on Hollywood 101 on terms of how to get an agent, how to get into the writer's room. So, Mira, start doing the homework.
Thank you.
Because you shouldn't be asking these questions if you watch Hollywood 101. Someone is writing their first short films. Are there any books that you suggest? And they love them?
Oh, well, for short film, I mean, I think that Story by Robert McGee is just kind of the classic. It's kind of, you should read it so you know it, so you can break those rules. It's that kind of thing. Like Picasso learned how to do normal painting before he did his stuff. It's like you got to learn the basics first.
Totally.
I also really like Save the Cat.
Save the Cat is everything.
It's everything. And you know what else? Listen, also, if you can't afford, because I know libraries are closed right now because libraries are my everything. There's also, you can go online and find a Save the Cat cheat sheet of like the 15 things. And you can start there, and then you can move up to reading the book if you're like, I need something today, right?
Okay.
There's also a really interesting book called Sequencing. I got to look it up. It's about sequencing. It's about how, it's a super interesting idea. Okay. Basically, back in the silent film days, a movie was like a big reel could only hold 20 minutes. So they would have to do something really cliffhangery because the audience would be sitting there waiting while the guy took the reel off and put the other reel on.
Yeah.
And so each of those 20-minute sequences had like some like na na na, and then like, oh shit, he pulls the thing down, he's pulling the other one up. But that way of telling a story ended up being kind of a great way to hold the audience's suspense.
That's so interesting to hear it framed like that. Because
right?
we're used
So
to that
I forget the name of the book, but I think if you type in sequencing into Amazon or something, you can find it. But for short films, I love consuming before making. So when I'm writing, so like right now I'm writing new stuff for Amazon, and I've been consuming a lot as part of my homework. Like your homework is to watch TV. Like, is that not the dream? Is that not the dream?
It's just
to
like
watch TV, and that's your homework.
Binge. Yeah.
Binge. So watch stuff and see like, oh, interesting. Okay, how could I do that shot? Oh, interesting. They're doing it's the camera's down here. Like, watch stuff and see how it's broken down. Watch it not to enjoy it. Watch it to study it. And see like, oh, interesting. Right, the scene starts back here, but by the end I'm like on her face. So it's like the scene is getting more intimate, and then by the end I'm like up in her grill. And
structure for short film is so important because you know, we program short films at the New York Latino Film Festival, and it's just like,
is there a link or something that you can send them to?
Yes, actually, y'all can go on our YouTube page, New York Latino Film Festival YouTube channel, and you can see tons of short content, including my short film Crush, which won the HBO New York Latino Film Festival.
It did?
Yes.
This is
epic.
humongous. I'm gonna mark that. I want to watch your short film.
Yes, I'll slide into your DMs, girl. So we got one more question because we don't have that much time.
Oh my God, this went by so fast.
Do you want to make movies? And
it's so interesting. It's so interesting. I just sold a movie, guys. It will. I don't know when the announcement will go out because it doesn't. I don't know. It's like a time where I really would like focus on Black lives. So it's been even strange to have a day of press today because I'm like, is this okay? Can we be?
But I'm just so excited to say it here because this is like the bochinche. You get the tea here first. New York.
Yes, you got. So it'll be out soon. It's with a writing partner who's a badass lady. And we sold a movie, and so I'm dipping my toe into that world. I traditionally have not loved it in the past. I've gone for a lot of bake-offs. A bake-off is when there's an idea that the studio has, and they'll have like 6 writers come in and do a bake-off, right? Like everyone does a take, and then they buy the one they want. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I like TV because it's fast and I get to live with the characters for a long time. So that's my favorite.
Well, we love that you write on TV because you give us such great stuff to watch. Tomorrow, the animated special, One Day at a Time, 9:30 Pop TV.
9:30. And guys, we're hoping it's going to be simulcast. For those of you that don't have Pop TV, but who might have TV Land, I think it's going to be simulcast, so please watch and tweet.
Usually they do TV Lands at 10 o'clock because I have it on DVR. So
I think they're going to try to simulcast it across both of them at the same time. So
check your listings tomorrow, One Day at a Time. Thank you so much, Gloria.
Thank you, Dominic.
You are such a light. And for those of y'all who don't follow us, please follow the New York Latino Film Festival. You can check out our YouTube page and have a beautiful, blessed week.
Thank you.
Later.